Today's experiment explores the hydrolysis of starch, a process where large starch molecules are broken down into smaller sugar molecules. We'll be using potato as our source of starch and observing the changes using a simple iodine test. This will allow us to visually track the breakdown of starch over time. Starch is a vital energy source found in many plants, including potatoes. Iodine is a remarkable chemical that reacts specifically with starch, producing a distinctive dark blue-black color. This property allows us to use iodine as an indicator to monitor the hydrolysis of starch. Before starting, we must consider our safety. Always wear PPE such as gloves, goggles, mask, lab gown, and shoe cover when handling chemicals. Let's begin the experiment by collecting all the necessary materials. Let's start with preparation of potato starch solution. First, we need to prepare a 1% starch solution. We'll grate a small potato, reduce it to fine pulp, and mix it with distilled water using a beaker. After mixing it with distilled water, next, we'll strain the mixture through a fine cloth to separate the starch from the pulp. We'll rinse the starch several times with distilled water to remove any excess potato juice. Allow the starch to settle and pour off the excess water or decantation and air dry. Finally, we'll mix 1 gram of dry starch with a small amount of distilled water to create our 1% starch solution. Pour the suspension in a 100 ml boiling water, stir constantly within a minute, then allow to cool. Use the solution for the succeeding test. Step 1. Let's start with the iodine test. We'll add 2 drops of iodine solution to 3 ml of our 1% starch solution in a test tube. Observe and record the color change. It should turn dark blue or black. Iodine reacts with starch, producing this characteristic color. Now, let's heat the solution. We'll place 3 ml of the 1% starch solution in a test tube and heat it gently over a Bunsen burner. Observe and record any changes in color and consistency as the solution heats. Note, the solution may become clear as the starch breaks down. Step 2. For this test, we'll use a 3 ml sample of the 1% starch solution. We'll heat the solution to boiling for 3 minutes. Then, we'll neutralize the solution by adding drops of dilute hydrochloric acid. After neutralization, we'll perform fillings test. This test detects the presence of reducing sugars, which are produced when starch breakdown. Note, color change to green then pink. Step 3. Place 30 ml of 1% starch solution in a small beaker and add 1 ml of concentrated HCl. Boil gently. Observe the changes. At intervals every 3 minutes, we'll take a small sample of the solution and test it with the iodine. Maintain the original volume by adding water from time to time. Continue procedure 3 until the iodine test become negative. Then, record the time until the starch solution is completely hydrolyzed. Step 4. We prepare 2 test tubes. In one, we add a sample of the neutralized hydrolysate, the product after hydrolysis and neutralization, and neutralized it with 10% of NaOH. In test tube 2, we place 1 ml of Fellings A and 1 ml of Fellings B. Mix the contents of test tubes and place them in a boiling water bath. We heat the test tubes in a boiling water bath. A brick red precipitate indicates the presence of reducing sugars, confirming the successful hydrolysis of starch. So, there you have it. We've just seen how starch, a type of sugar found in potatoes, can be broken down into simple sugars. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new about starch and hydrolysis today.